So far, the fantasy football season has been tough. We have a lot of players dealing with injuries. Week 7 was no different. More players have gone down with some major injuries. We have 2 teams on a bye week for week 8. And your major question is, who the hell am I going to get to replace those players injured and some of the top players in fantasy because they're on a bye week? Well, let's talk about it. Geno Smith should be your top ad at the quarterback position to help relieve due to injuries to the players on bye weeks. We have important teams going on a bye week this week, and Geno Smith has been solid for the most part all season long. He had a iffy week 6, but week 7 was slightly better. He threw 2 touchdowns. Seattle got a little cute and was doing a little too much out there, but nonetheless, Geno Smith is having one of his best seasons statistically ever. And you want to maximize on that type of production, even if it's for 1 week. If you have Patrick Mahomes, you need to have a reliable backup, right? Patrick Mahomes is capable of carrying your team every week. You're not going to get that same production via the waiver wire, but you still can get solid production to help you stay competitive to win. And Geno Smith will present that opportunity for you. Also, I know this is a wild card, but Daniel Jones has been much better than expected this season. He is really playing some solid football. Week 7 threw for 202 passing yards, 1 touchdown. He rushed for over 100 yards and had a rushing touchdown. With Daniel Jones, you're getting a dual threat. Now, keep in mind, they are a run-first team, right? The New York Giants are going to make sure Saquon Barkley is involved, but Daniel Jones is always a threat. And defenses have to respect Saquon Barkley. So you never know when Danny Dimes is going to run one back and hopefully not trip in the grass. But at the end of the day, you are looking for someone to help at the quarterback position. And Daniel Jones can do that in a spot start situation. Now let's talk about the running back position. Some serious injuries. Breece Hall was on his way to a fabulous rookie season and he tore his ACL. And now we have to figure out who the hell's going to replace Breece Hall's production. That is very hard to replace. When you're talking about potentially a top 10, maybe top 5 if he would have played the whole season, running back, that is hard to replace. So you have to kind of lower your expectations when you are looking for players via the waiver wire, but you can still get good production. Gus Edwards with the Ravens, they love Gus Edwards. I don't care what anybody tell you. They love Gus. He's back. He played more than Kenyon Drake, yes, and he was very, very good. 16 carries for 66 yards and 2 touchdowns. Again, they love Edwards. So Drake, in my opinion, is going to be the backup to Edwards. And we already know that DK is out and dealing with his own injuries. He's so you already know. Dobbins is out, had knee surgery, and Gus will continue to see more of his carries increase and play more as the season goes on. So if you can get Gus Edwards, do so. Now here's a wild card: Kyren Williams with the Rams. He should be returning within the next few weeks. Cam Akers is no longer going to take a snap for the Rams. He's on the trading block. The Rams want to trade him. We all know they made a play for CMC. That did not work. Well, now Kyren Williams, rookie 5th-round draft pick, has the opportunity, once he returns, to come and make some noise. Henderson hasn't done anything to pretty much secure that starting job. So if Kyren Williams is able to return and he's able to play well, then Henderson may not get as many touches. But keep in mind, this may end up being a committee. So you have to factor that in as well. Another ad, this is all based on the CMC trade. Dante Freeman, and Chuba Hubbard. Both of these guys played very, very well, and they both were utilized. This is going to be a committee. Now, if they are 100% committing to the run, like, say, Atlanta, you'll see both of these guys continue to get touches. Freeman went for over 118 yards on 15 carries, and Hubbard had 9 carries for 63 yards and a touchdown, but he tweaked his ankle. But they're saying it's not a lot. Don't worry about it. It's not that serious. But that's something to kind of keep in mind. And again, CMC is no longer in the building, so you already know what that means. These two guys will continue to get touches. I do believe they want to see what they have in Hubbard. So they're going to continue to play him. All right. Another solid ad is Isaiah Pacheco with the Chiefs. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right, but y'all know who I'm talking about. This young man actually started over Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Clyde Edwards-Helaire cannot catch a break. Talked about him the last few weeks to sell high when he was playing well early on in the season, because it just didn't seem like he 100% secured the job. And you already know that McKinnon was involved. McKinnon actually played more than both of these guys. So this is a committee. We'll see if Isaiah is able to start this week and start seeing more carries. Right now, it's pretty much even. So if you have Clyde Edwards-Helaire, you may want to try to secure one of these other running backs like Freeman or Hubbard. If you can't pick those guys up, then you might want to get Isaiah, but you probably should stay away from Clyde Edwards-Helaire because he's on a decline, not getting the opportunity. So he hasn't really done much to warrant a roster spot. Try to get rid of him if you can. Some other ads, Latavius Murray and Marlon Mack. We already know Javonte Williams is done for the season. Boone was just placed on IR with an ankle injury. So Marlon Mack signed with Denver. Gordon just hasn't been great this season. A lot of fumbling issues. And then you also have to factor in he's not averaging many yards per carry. Okay, we all know that that's not his thing. But at the end of the day, he's just not producing at a high level. And then to factor in you're fumbling the football. You're already not averaging much per carry, and now you're fumbling my football. Not saying Marlon Mack is going to be in the mix, but you simply never know. So in deep leagues, he may deserve a look. He's gonna play Sunday, right? We'll see how that goes. But again, the goal is to identify players that you can pick up before they end up playing well. Marlon Mack can't catch a break. Went from Houston to the 49ers, now with the Broncos. Hopefully he's able to stick with this team and start seeing some carries on the football field. He didn't look bad during preseason. So I'm just curious as to what it really is. It could just be the injury history in this case. But he's worth a long look at if you cannot secure some of these other running backs. So check him out. Now, by chance, if Michael Carter Jr. is available, you can pick him up. He's probably not, or in deep leagues, some teams may have moved on from him because Breece Hall was pretty much starting to take over that backfield. So if by some slim chance he's available, pick him up. I'll tell you this, the Jets just traded for James Robinson, so it's looking like both of those two guys are going to be in the mix, and that means stock up for my boy Travis Etienne. Now let's talk about those wide receivers. We have a very good list of wide receivers who have been producing, starting with one of my favorites, George Pickens, especially in a dynasty league. This young man is just simply amazing. And if you have the opportunity to pick him up, pick him up. He has a great rapport with Kenny Pickett. He had a nice bounce back game week 6 because, Pickett suffered a concussion week 5. And Mitch came in, and you already know how that went. But Pickett is back, and Pickens was back on track. 6 catches for 61 yards and a touchdown. Solid production. Again, he can be a flex play during bye weeks. Or he's just a player you can add to your bench and ensure that you have him on your side instead of your opponent having him on their side. Sometimes you got to think like that in fantasy football. Another solid ad, Wan'Dale Robinson with the Giants. He's playing very well, starting to see more time on the football field, which we expected that, and he's playing well. The best playmaker at the wide receiver position right now for the New York Giants. 6 catches, 50 yards, all in the first half of Sunday's football game. And also a wild card, and it's going to be hit or miss. Darius Slayton with the Giants. He's still involved. It's pretty much Wan'Dale Robinson and Slayton. But if you had to choose between these two guys, it should be Wan'Dale Robinson. But keep in mind, Slayton has a nice rapport with Daniel Jones. But again, the preference should be Robinson. Another solid ad in deep leagues, and this is all due to injuries. Marquise Goodwin with the Seahawks. He already had a rapport with Geno. I noticed that early on in the season, and we know that DK went down with a knee injury. He's going to miss some time. Don't know how much time he's going to miss. But if you can't get George Pickens, then consider Goodwin. He's going to play more. He had 2 touchdowns week 7. And again, he has that rapport with Geno Smith. I don't believe Eskridge is going to end up out producing Goodwin, but you never know. But again, your top priority should be George Pickens or Wan'Dale Robinson. But in deep leagues where these guys are not options and you are looking for relief due to injuries and some bye week help, Goodwin may be able to be a solid flex play for you 1 week. That's all it takes for you to continue to keep on track when you're dealing with the bye weeks and the injuries. 1 week of production from a player who you didn't expect to produce, and they produce for you, and guess what? You win. That's what it's all about, guys. That is what it's all about. Another solid ad is Alec Pierce with the Colts. He has been playing very well. Now, keep in mind, Matt Ryan has been benched, so there may be some groin pain. So we'll have to see how that goes. But he should be on your team and not on waivers, okay? And not on someone else's team. So if you can pick him up, pick him up. Another solid ad is Donovan Peoples-Jones. He has been playing very well. 19 catches the last 4 games. And Njoku went down with an ankle injury. So someone else is going to have to pick up some of those targets that's going to be available due to Njoku's injury. We already know Cooper has that rapport with Jacoby Brissett, and now we're just hoping that Donovan Peoples-Jones will continue to be more involved as well. Another solid ad, and this is all based on injuries, DeAndre Carter and Joshua Palmer. Well, Palmer was out week 7 due to a concussion, so you have to monitor that. If he can return, he would be my preference over Carter. But, Mike Williams went down with an ankle injury. And then you have to also factor in that Keenan Allen still isn't healthy, barely played week 7. And you don't know what's going to happen with the hamstring injuries. Those are tricky, can have setbacks at any given moment. So if Palmer can return, he should be the main guy that you focus on picking up out of these two. But if Palmer isn't available, then definitely consider DeAndre Carter. And this is another wild card based on injuries. St. Brown is dealing with a concussion. He said he was able to come back, but due to the new rules, he was unable to return. But again, concussions are tricky. Now, Josh Reynolds didn't really do much when St. Brown went out, but they were playing the Cowboys, and that was a really good defensive game for the Cowboys. So if St. Brown cannot go week 8, then Josh Reynolds is a viable option to help relieve due to injuries and put them on your bye weeks. Now let's talk about some tight ends. Greg Dulcich with the Broncos. He's put together 2 solid weeks. He's very much involved. Wasn't sure if he was still going to be involved with Russell Wilson not playing week 7, but he was. So the tight end position, hey, there's a lot of tight ends who simply haven't played well. Kelsey's out this week. Greg Dulcich may be able to help you. Another solid add is Cade Otton with Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tom Brady is getting this young man involved, and right now he's going to be the starting tight end. We don't know when Cameron Brate is going to return. So Otton is a player you can add, and add with confidence, because you know Tom Brady is going to get him involved. As bad as Tampa looked on offense, Otton was still able to secure some catches and some yardage and have a productive day for you. Some points is better than no points. Kelsey's going to be out this week, so that is something to factor in. And you also got Gerald Everett out as well, so that's something else you have to factor in, because Everett has been productive for the most part of this season. So consider adding those tight ends. Leave some comments and let me know which players you are considering adding this week via the waiver wire. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and your notifications are turned on. We have a lot of great content which is going to help you every week in fantasy football. We have the bye weeks, we have injuries, we have so much going on. We have a lot of great content which is going to help you deal with these situations. I'll see you guys on Thursday.
Thanks for listening to the Blown Coverage Fantasy Football Podcast. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Blown Coverage Fantasy Football Podcast.